Welcome to Make Peace with Food. I'm your host, Emily LaVoie, a certified eating psychology coach. I own a virtual private practice, and I work with clients all over the world, one-on-one and in group programs, to help heal their relationship with food and improve body image. Here at Make Peace with Food, we believe food is not your enemy, that eating should be fun and bring you joy and pleasure, not stress and guilt. To keep this a safe space, I will try my best to avoid mentioning numbers like calories and weight, as well as other potentially triggering content, but you know yourself best, so please avoid any episode topics that may not feel helpful to where you're at in your healing journey. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes. It's not a replacement for medical or mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor does it provide a client or patient relationship. Consult your own provider on any changes you're thinking about making. Today's episode is brought to you by my one-on-one coaching. If you're curious about becoming a client and want to learn more about what it looks and feels like to receive support in healing your relationship with food and improving your body image, go to my website, emily-lavoie.com, to schedule a free 30-minute Zoom consultation. Welcome to episode 7. This is another solo episode, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to episode 6 yet, I would highly recommend you go back and listen to that episode, because in that episode, I talked extensively about body image, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about self-esteem and self-worth and confidence, which is kind of like building off of body image. So feel free to push pause and go back and do that. Before we dive into it, I wanted to share a little something about myself and what's going on in my life. My husband and I, well, me more so than him, I'm working on kind of doing like a big purge of our household items. And I will admit, I will never, ever be a minimalist. I like clothes and I like shoes way too much, but I'm sort of feeling like I would like to minimize. And so one of the things we've been doing is working on going through stuff and getting rid of things we no longer need and selling some stuff and donating some stuff. And I just think that this will allow us for more free time and more time to enjoy things that we actually like and want to do, versus sort of like being held back from some of the things we would rather be doing, because our stuff ends up owning us instead of us owning our stuff. So that's a little project I've been working on, but our basement, it's going to take a while. The next thing I want to share with you all is this idea that kind of just came to me. So you are sort of the first one hearing about this. But in my Patreon, I have a couple different membership options where people can support the podcast. And one of them is as low as $3. And there's another membership tier that's $8 that automatically enrolls you into the Sticker of the Month Club, where you will receive a fun sticker that I designed in the mail every single month. And I'm going to add another membership tier. And this membership tier, it's going to be $15. So in this $15 tier, you would be in the Sticker of the Month Club, as well as the book club, which would meet monthly. And I think the way that this is going to work is you would get an email at the very beginning of the month letting you know what the book of the month is. And all of the books that I will be recommending will have an option where you can purchase the actual book with real pages, as well as an audio version, because I just know that works so much better for some people's lives, because you can listen and unload the dishwasher and listen and go for a walk, as well as a Kindle option if you prefer reading your books on a Kindle. So you'd get that email at the beginning of the month, and then the last Friday of the month, we would meet over Zoom as a group if you're in the book club and have a discussion, and that would happen at noon Central Standard Time on the last Friday of the month. And if you can't make the Zoom call, I will record it, and you will receive a copy of the recording in your email that you can watch at a later time. And the books that I choose will all be relevant to this work on healing from unwanted eating habits and food challenges, as well as body image and other relevant books related to these topics. All right, let's dive into the episode. So I'm heading back to my website's glossary so that I can define a couple more terms for you. And after I define each term, I'll kind of try to consolidate it and translate it into what it means in a nutshell. So, in case you're curious, my website is Emily-LaVoie, and if you want to see the glossary, it is emily-lavoie.com/resources/glossary. The first term I'm going to define is self-esteem. So here we go. Self-esteem is your beliefs in your characteristics, attributes, and abilities. Self-esteem is often influenced by external factors such as what other people think of your ability to achieve, excelling in certain areas, fitting into a particular or certain beauty standard, and or being praised by others can raise your self-esteem. The term self-esteem and self-worth are often used interchangeably. However, they are different, as self-worth as an internal feeling of whether or not you are worthy of love and respect despite your accomplishments or outward appearance or what others think of you. Self-worth is recognizing that you are valuable despite what you believe about your own traits and attributes. Okay, so in a nutshell, what self-esteem means to me is how you feel about yourself, but it's based on other people giving you feedback about what you are doing or how you look or how you're performing, whether that's in a sport or if you're getting good grades and you're receiving compliments. When we receive positive feedback from others, that helps improve or increase our self-esteem. So in a nutshell, self-esteem is based on receiving external compliments and comments from other people that you are acceptable. Okay, I'm going to explain something that I see sometimes on social media or Facebook. So maybe it's a person that you know, and I think we maybe all know somebody like this. So a person that you know, and maybe they're conventionally attractive. Maybe they check a lot of the boxes that meet the stupid beauty standard. And they're maybe like constantly posting selfies. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking or posting selfies, but think about if you know a person like this. They're very attractive conventionally, and they're kind of constantly posting selfies. And you kind of can maybe realize that the reason they're posting selfies is so that they have people that they're friends with on social media leaving comments about, oh, great picture, you're beautiful, you're so pretty. And they're doing that, like they're posting these selfies just to get the feedback. And they need kind of this constant influx of feedback from others because self-esteem goes higher when we get these comments. But if the comments if they kind of like fall off, your self-esteem will plummet when you're not constantly receiving that feedback. So they're maybe fishing for compliments in order to keep their self-esteem high because self-esteem is based on external factors. Okay, so that's sort of self-esteem in a nutshell. Feedback from others about you, your performances, your looks, just positive feedback from others keeps self-esteem high. Okay, moving on to self-worth. Again, I'm heading back to my website's dictionary or glossary, I think it's called. Okay, so self-worth is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. Self-worth is often confused with self-esteem, which relies on external factors such as success and achievement to define worth and can often be inconsistent, leading to someone struggling with feeling worthiness. Low self-worth is having a generally negative overall opinion of yourself, judging or evaluating yourself critically, and placing a generally negative value on yourself as a person. So, in a nutshell, basically, I think of self-worth as you don't need feedback from others. You have this internal sense of knowing that you are worthy because you are a human and you were born on planet Earth. You are worthy and deserving of love and respect and kindness and dignity, regardless of your ability, regardless of your appearance, regardless of your grades, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your socioeconomic status. I could go on and on, just basically this internal sense of, because of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, I am worthy because I am a human. And you don't need somebody to constantly be complimenting you on your appearance or your performance. You just know. And so I think having a positive self-worth or good self-worth is more important than having good self-esteem, because with self-esteem, we're kind of just leaving it in somebody else's hands. And we don't want to leave this in somebody else's hands. We want to take control of this. We want to know that regardless of if I'm not receiving feedback, I'm still worthy. Regardless of if my body changes, if I do gain weight, if I get wrinkles because, hey, we're all getting older, if I get gray hair, if I don't get an A on this paper, if I'm struggling with a disability, it doesn't matter. You're worthy because you are a human, and we're not leaving that up to somebody else, and we're not leaving it in anybody else's hands. So as adults, we would want to have a positive self-worth, and we also want to, yes, give the children in our life compliments, but not just compliments on their appearance. And we want to also instill in them that even if the compliments slow down or you are no longer an athlete, oh my goodness, I see this so often in the transition from somebody being a high-performing athlete into no longer being an athlete, almost not even knowing who they are because they identified so much as an athlete. I'm actually probably, as I'm saying this, I'm like, I need to do an entire episode on that someday. So keep tuning in. But I think part of being an adult, when we have young people in our life, we should be doing things and teaching them things and saying things to them so that they know that they are worthy, so we can instill a positive high self-worth and let them know that they're valuable regardless of anything. You deserve love, you deserve kindness, all of the good things in life. So sometimes I think it's really helpful to learn through stories and comparisons. So I'm going to kind of share with you some of my personal experiences from when I was really struggling with body image and self-esteem and self-worth, and just kind of take a moment to explain to you how it potentially could be showing up in your life or in the life of people that you love. I was in a pretty bad place with all of these things, I want to say the majority of my life until the last 7 or 8 years. But in college, I was in a pretty negative place. And I'll kind of explain to you how that played out. So I would actually say in college, I probably had pretty high self-esteem because I was a collegiate athlete and I was receiving a lot of positive feedback about my performance. And there's something weird that our culture does where we kind of worship athletes in this weird way. So just being an athlete gives you a little bit of accolade and special treatment. And how else can I explain this? I felt like I put a large emphasis and priority on, if I was going out on a Friday night or Saturday night, because I did that often in college, I would always want to wear a new outfit. And it kind of had to be I want to say over the top or meeting all of the trends. I needed to wear what was fashionable and in style, and because I knew that that would get me compliments, and I needed this constant feedback from other people in order for me to feel like I was acceptable and lovable. So I was spending like a lot of money and probably on credit cards, and maybe not even being able to pay those credit cards off. And I had this disgusting amount of clothes, and I do like clothes. I like fashion, but it was not me expressing myself in the way I felt the most comfortable expressing myself. It was really just whatever is online or in the magazines at the time, and kind of constantly doing things that I didn't even realize this at the time. It was maybe subconscious and unconscious thought that I was going to do these things and behave in this way or wear this thing or get this haircut because I knew it would kind of force people to share feedback about their thoughts on my performance, on my grades, on my appearance. I was one of the people that kind of constantly needed to have this external feedback coming in from others very, very regularly. And so I had pretty positive self-esteem because that feedback was coming in, but I had zero self-worth. I had no internal sense of knowing that I was good enough and I deserved all of the good things in life if people stopped sharing their external thoughts and opinions with me. So that is why I personally believe that, yeah, they're both important, but I think self-worth is so much more important. And basically, building self-worth it's complicated, it's complex, it doesn't happen overnight, but we just have to start changing the way we view ourselves, change our internal dialogue and our self-talk about how we think of ourselves and perceive ourselves, then realize that our performance, our grades, our appearance, that's not the most important thing about us. So when we work on self-worth, it's really working on changing our internal dialogue and our thoughts about ourselves and reminding ourselves constantly, like putting Post-its up on the bathroom mirror, putting a Post-it on your windshield, or not your windshield because that would block your view of your driving, but maybe on your speedometer, somewhere in your car where you see it regularly, just that you are worthy. Your weight has nothing to do with your worth. The size of your body has nothing to do with your worth. The size of your waist has nothing to do with your worth. Your performance doesn't make you more worthy. Your grades don't make you more worthy. Whether you're an athlete or not, whether you're getting promotions or not at work, we're all worthy regardless of how much money we make. I could go on, but we just want to have that internal sense of knowing without constantly relying on the feedback from others. Okay, so confidence, and this is just kind of in a nutshell. We build confidence by doing something over and over again. So this is my 7th episode. I don't have a lot of confidence in the recording studio making these podcasts, but I will say I am starting to feel a little bit more comfortable than I did on episode 0. And so slowly, I know that with practice, I'm hoping I will get better and better and better, and I'll start feeling more and more and more confident in my ability to be a podcaster and put together content that is relevant and helpful to people's life. So confidence just is gaining experience. And so when it comes to self-confidence, I know some people might disagree with this, but I'm fake it till you make it. You might not feel confident the first time you wear shorts if you haven't worn shorts in a decade, but put on the shorts, wear the damn shorts, and you might feel really unconfident about it. But the more practice you get wearing shorts and the more times you actually wear shorts, you'll start to realize oh, I was making this out to be this huge thing in my head and it's really not that big of a deal. And your confidence in yourself and your ability to do something is going to grow and increase in comparison to of course, you're not going to feel confident doing something you've never, ever done before. Gosh, I remember the first time I ever swung a golf club. I felt so awkward and it just didn't feel like this movement my body's ever done it. And I'm not like an avid golfer by any means, but I do enjoy going to the driving range a couple times in the summer. And my confidence in my ability to swing a golf club with practice eventually increased. And like, yeah, I'm not trying to get on the tour or anything, but I no longer feel just like awkward and uncomfortable and like this absolutely doesn't feel right to my body. So with confidence, it's kind of like, yeah, like I said, practice makes perfect and fake it till you make it. And the more experience you have doing something, the more confidence you will gain in that thing. So there's some research studies, like a large body of research that has kind of proven that if a person is struggling with low or poor self-worth, they might engage in unhealthy behaviors or put themselves at risk and get themselves into maybe not the best situation. So people with low self-worth, they are more likely to develop an eating disorder, but they're maybe also more likely to drink alcohol in excess or use drugs or give in to peer pressure or maybe engage in like unhealthy sexual behaviors. They're going to be more at risk for maybe making decisions based on what other people will perceive as acceptable. And so when a person has low self-worth, they're constantly maybe fishing for things that will raise their self-esteem. And so one of the reasons we really don't want people to have poor self-worth is because we don't want people to engage in these like risky behaviors with alcohol and drugs and other unideal things. So that's this week's episode, and I hope you gained a better understanding of the difference between self-esteem in comparison to self-worth and how to use those terms correctly, and how both of those things kind of are related to body image, because if a person has low self-worth, they're probably more likely to struggle with body image. And then I have this thought, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Do they actually have poor body image, which leads to low self-worth, or the other way around? But yeah, we want to have a positive self-worth, and we want the other people, especially the younger people, the children in our life, the teenagers in our life, to feel worthy and have positive self-worth. And get out there and do this scary thing. Put some practice into the thing that you feel intimidated to do. And if you want to sign up for the Sticker of the Month Club or the monthly book club, head over to my Patreon, patreon.com/makepeacewithfood. And if you want to schedule a free consultation where we talk for up to 30 minutes over Zoom, kind of feel out what it would be like to do this work one-on-one and become a client, head to my website, emily-lavoie.com, and sign up for a free consultation. That's the show. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed it, I'd be so grateful if you take a minute to follow or subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps others to find the podcast and continue spreading this important information to more people who need to hear it. This podcast is made possible by paid supporters at patreon.com/makepeacewithfood. They're truly what keep this show going so that I can pay my assistant, editor, producer, and allow me to keep sharing all of this content and doing this important and needed work with you all. Go to patreon.com/makepeacewithfood to sign up for as little as $3 per month. Make Peace with Food is hosted by me, Emily LaVoie. It's produced and edited by Jake Lamore at Pathfinder. Thank you so much for your support.